North Korea is not interested in peace with South Korea. Pyongyang has not only rejected talks with Seoul, even said that its neighbor is quote-unquote miscalculating the situation. Why did North Korea reject Seoul's peace overtures? Can Seoul break the North Korea-Russia-China axis? And can this be a new chapter in the Korean Peninsula? I'm Ananya Dutta. Let's enter the grey zone. The two rivals once used to be a single country. In 1945, the Korean Peninsula was divided not by Koreans but by Cold War superpowers. The Soviets backed the North, the Americans backed the South. By 1950, that uneasy line gave birth to 3 brutal years of bloodshed. 3 million people died. The war ended, but with a ceasefire, not a peace deal. Since then, the border between the two Koreas, the DMZ as it's called, has been one of the most militarized places on earth. North Korea became a nuclear-armed dictatorship, South Korea a democratic tech powerhouse. But the war never truly ended. North Korea has been playing war games. It has been firing intercontinental ballistic missiles into the sky that mostly land in the Sea of Japan. Between 2012 and 2024, North Korea conducted over 220 missile tests, revealing a dramatic acceleration under Kim Jong-Un's rule. In the 7 months of this year alone, there have been 7 different instances of different kinds of missiles being fired. Pyongyang justifies it by saying it is being war-ready if ever the real war knocks on its shores. South Korea, on the other hand, has resorted to non-conventional methods to reply to the aggression. Activists have launched balloons into North Korea. They contain anti-Kim Jong-Un propaganda messages, USB sticks, and even dollar bills. Seoul also used loudspeakers, blasting messages about Kim's failures, his luxurious lifestyle, and the freedom of the South. The tit-for-tats on the ground are a direct reflection of the government policies on the respective borders. While not much is expected to change in Pyongyang, a lot has changed in Seoul. South Korea has been in its own political mess for the last few months. Former President Yoon Suk-yeol is sitting behind bars after he tried to impose martial law last year. An unexpected snap election last month brought Lee Jae-myung to power. In his inaugural speech, he not only promised to unite the country, he had a strong message for his neighbor.
I will create a peaceful, coexisting, and stable Korean peninsula. While exercising deterrence against North Korea with solid national defense capabilities, I am convinced that winning without fighting is better than winning through fighting, and that creating peace where there is no need to fight is true security rather than winning without fighting. I will seek a path of coexistence and co-prosperity through dialogue, communication, coexistence, and mutual cooperation between North and South Korea.
This declaration has been seen as a major shift in the South's policy towards the North. Soon after, Lee stopped all balloons and loudspeakers that were used against Pyongyang and shows interest in re-engaging with diplomacy. While the hope was that the extended hand would be met with a warm handshake, the opposite happened. The Supreme Leader Kim Jong-Un's sister gave a cold-shoulder response. She said, and I'm quoting, "If South Korea expects to reverse all the consequences of its actions with a few sentimental words, there could be no greater miscalculation than that." It will be wrong to look at North Korea through the Western lens of Rocket Man. There is very little we know about the country, but we do know about its 2 friends. One is an old, trusted friend. The other is a modern superpower that has managed to compete against the United States. Let's start with the older ally. Relations with Russia are quite diverse. The first is defense. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has pushed Moscow closer to Pyongyang. It includes arms and personnel. North Korea has made $5.5 billion from selling war material to Russia since the year 2023. and is projected to earn $572 million from its mercenaries annually. Moscow is breaking international sanctions by buying arms from Pyongyang and hiring North Korean soldiers and laborers. And in return, North Korea seeks satellites, ballistic missile tech, oil, and food. Last year, Russian President Vladimir Putin visited Pyongyang, the first Russian leader to do so in 24 long years, and signed mutual agreements. Interestingly, from today, direct commercial flights have started between Moscow and Pyongyang. There is growing fear that Moscow could give Pyongyang the technology needed to develop its nuclear weapons program. Now, second is China. The country accounts for over 98% of North Korea's foreign trade. These include textiles, seafood, minerals, and labor services. Bilateral trade accounted for $2.7 billion in 2023. Beijing also provides aid directly to Pyongyang, primarily food and energy assistance. Remember, North Korea has repeatedly faced severe droughts and flooding, which threatens its food supply. Famine ravaged the country in the 1990s, killing anywhere from 500,000 people to more than 3 million. It's hard to be absolutely sure about these figures. While not as expansive as Russia, China is growing its defense commitments to North Korea. China has made clear in the past that it would protect North Korea if the US and South Korea attacked first. The current South Korean leader's logic is that Pyongyang will not need to depend only on Russia and China if its survival is guaranteed. Of note, Lee did not attend the NATO summit that his predecessor Yoon participated in 3 years in a row. But with no diplomatic solution to the war in Ukraine and American hawkish tariff wars pushing smaller countries to China's orbit, Lee seems to be in an almost unwinnable contest. Neither a hard nor a soft approach has proved to dismantle the North Korea-Russia-China alliance. But Seoul isn't losing optimism.
The South Korean government will continue to make efforts for reconciliation and cooperation with the North and peaceful coexistence on the Korean Peninsula without being sensitive to the North's response.
The Korean Peninsula has seen war, famine, missile tests, and broken promises. And now it's caught in a new geopolitical storm, where Russia needs artillery, China needs loyalty, and North Korea needs relevance. For Pyongyang, the axis with Moscow and Beijing has worked like a protection. To make its existence felt in organizations the isolated country isn't even allowed in, like the United Nations. So it's clear that North Korea cannot be brought to the talking table through the route of peace. So then, can the quote-unquote lover Donald Trump help? We will have to wait and watch. The Grey Zone, and I'm Ananya Dutta. Thanks for watching.